Hi, everybody. So I wanted to give a bit of an update here. So I did send out some messages this week to students who were starting to fall behind in the homework. Please, I'm not judging anybody. I know everyone has, busy lives and lots of things going on right now. But I did want to make contact with some students who I thought maybe were in danger of approaching a point where maybe they wouldn't be able to recover in the course. I have to say, overall, I'm quite pleased with the number of people who seem to be working consistently on the homework. If you have developed that habit so far in the semester, please keep that up. I can tell you, as someone who has seen many, many students come through these courses, one of the best things you can do is consistently working on homework. And in reading, I just graded one of the discussions about, the challenges people were having in this course. And many of students seemed to get that because they mentioned, one of the things that happened was I'm working on the homework consistently and I'm finding that much better. That is very true. Take two different students, say you have 5 assignments due. Let's just say there's 1 assignment due a day, which there isn't for this class, but they come pretty quick because this is a shortened class. So you have 2 students, one, they both have 5 assignments to do in the next week, and you have one student who's doing 1 assignment a day, and you have another student who waits till the last day or maybe the last 2 days and is trying to do a ton of work all at once. Those students may get the same number of homework points, but those students will in all likelihood not perform the same way on the exam, right? There's lots of research that about studying, and there's actually a fair amount of research on procrastination, right? There was a study that came out a few years ago that says one of the main things holding back humanity as a whole is procrastination, right? If we could somehow help people get over procrastination, humanity as a whole would move forward at a much faster pace. And procrastination was something that was mentioned in those discussions about what's working and what's challenging in the course. So that is something to definitely key in on, right? Like working consistently on the homework and not waiting until you have stuff due and then trying to do it at that point. You want to be working a little bit ahead of that. And it seems that some people have figured that out. And I can tell you that's true, right? So, it's the same thing with studying violin or any kind of musical instrument, right? Where they've shown, let's say that you're supposed to study on average 1 hour a day. Well, the student who spends 1 hour a day practicing violin is going to outperform the student who does nothing for 6 days and then on Sunday spends 7 hours playing the violin. One of those students is going to be much better at it than the other. Even though they've both spent 7 hours practicing the violin, one of those students is going to outperform the other. That's just the way your brain learns, especially with mathematics, right? Your brain is not a muscle, but it acts like a muscle. When you overuse it, it gets fatigued, and it's not creating those neurons in the same way that help you remember things. You really want to treat this class as a marathon, not as a series of sprints where, I've got a bunch of stuff to do now, I'm going to get all caught up on it. That does not help for learning. So please be aware of that. I also wanted to point out in the homework, just in case there's some people who haven't seen it, down at the bottom, on most websites, we ignore stuff at the bottom because it's usually ads or it's some kind of copyright information that we don't care about. But there's helpful stuff down here, right? So to help me solve this, most students don't do that because then it's helping you solve the problem that you're supposed to do, and then you don't get it doesn't get scored the same way. But what you can do is view an example. You can use this to view a separate but very, very similar problem, and by learning how they do that, you can apply this example to the problem that you're working on. Right? There's also, if you click the Get More Help, there are videos in there sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and then also there's access to the textbook. So those are very helpful as well. I highly encourage you, especially since you're in a class where it's harder to, communicate with others. We're in a mode where we're just all naturally distanced from each other. Those kind of things can be helpful. So, like I say, I'm actually pleased. I think we have an above average group here as far as students who are consistently working on their homework. If you've been able to maintain that up till now, just finish the semester like that. Just keep doing that. That's great. It's one of the best things you can do. I know stuff happens in people's lives and they get behind. Family members get sick, and kids need to be taken to places. I get it. I totally get it. But if you've fallen behind, you definitely want to do some catching up. We do have that exam coming at the end of October, towards the end of October. It's not the last day of October, but it'll be towards the end of October. The last few days of October is when the exam will take place. I do have a Canvas page scheduled to pop up. Actually, I guess it's a Canvas discussion to pop up in the next few days. It will have a practice test in there that you can use to start getting ready for the exam. Now, I know the exam's it's still off. It's towards the end of the month, but it's going to be here faster than you think. So it's not too soon to start kind of putting that together. I know you're still learning chapter 2, and then there's chapter 3 to get to. And chapter 2 is a pretty heavy chapter. Chapter 2 can have some stuff in it as well. So, just so you have those resources and you kind of are starting to see, by the end of October, I really need to be on point because there's going to be that test that I have to take. So look for that to show up in the next few days. And those of you who are consistently doing the homework, just keep doing that. And those of you who have gotten behind, that's okay. Stuff happens, but really you want to make it a priority to get yourself caught up, because that's really the least stressful way to get through this course, and the way that it's both more successful and less stressful. Those are both good things, right? So I would encourage you to do that way. And as always, if you need help or you have questions or you need to have a discussion with me, you're welcome to show up to my in-person office hours on campus. I have been setting up my iPad so that people can Zoom in if they need to. And also, if those times just don't work for you, we can try to set up another time where I can meet with you and have a Zoom meeting and give you some feedback or answer your questions that you need. So please keep all that stuff in mind. Thank you. Keep up the good work, and I will update you with more information soon. Thanks, everybody.